In this video, you're going to start building the skeleton and decoration of the different web pages of the app. So to start, you're going to build the landing page. So to do this, let's open FiFTP and create a file inside our public HTML folder and call it index.php. It's going to be a PHP file as we're going to be writing some PHP code later on. Okay, so now let's open this file using brackets. So Control O or Command O. And also, I'm just going to make sure that I work inside the project folder corresponding to the Notes app project. Okay, so let's open the file again. And as I'm going to be building files for this project, I'm going to be backing up all the files inside this folder just for learning purposes. Okay, so now we've got our index.php file and we are ready to start populating our page. So our page is going to be built using Bootstrap as we need the page to be responsive. So we're going to need a collapsible navigation bar. Okay, we're going to use the grid system, jumbotrons, and so on. Okay, so to use Bootstrap, the easiest way is to go to the getbootstrap.com website and click on the download Bootstrap button. Now, if you scroll down, you will find the basic Bootstrap template. So just copy it by clicking on this button. And now you can just paste the contents inside your PHP file. Okay. And also, we'll need to download the Bootstrap files, which refers to the CSS, JavaScript files, and so on. So just click on that button. So once you've done that, you're gonna get a file like this. Okay. And what you want to do is place all these files inside your FiFTP in the same location as your index.php file. So let's do this. Okay, perfect. Now let's open our page and make sure that everything is working. So our template is working and we're now ready to start populating our web page with the different components. So first of all, we're going to start by building a nice collapsible navigation bar. And then we're going to place a title, paragraph, and sign up button inside a jumbotron. And then we're going to move to the footer and we're going to add a nice background image to make our page beautiful. And let's not forget the different forms we're going to need to build inside our page. This includes the login form, the forgot password form, and the sign up form. And we're going to place all these forms inside a modal just like this. Okay. So to start, let's just change the title of our page to online notes. So you're going to go to the title inside the head element. Okay. And also let's delete this heading. And the structure of our code is going to be as following. Okay, so we're going to start first with the navigation bar. So we're going to use the nav tags. Okay, and inside the nav tags, we're going to place a container or container fluid. In our case, we're going to go for a container fluid, as we want the navigation bar to spread across the whole width of our page. Okay, so we're going to give our div a class of container fluid. All right, and then inside this div, we are going to place a couple of elements. So the first element is going to be the navbar header, which will include the brand and the toggle button. Okay, so that's going to be a div of class navbar header. And the second component is going to refer to the collapsible content, which is going to include this list of elements and our login button. And it's going to be a div also. And I'm going to give it a class navbar collapse and collapse. Okay, so let's go back to our nav tags. So we're going to place a few attributes in here. So the first one is going to be the role, which is going to be used for assistive technologies mainly. So that's going to be navigation. And we're going to give our nav tags a class of navbar. Okay, so for decoration, we're going to add another class. So for the default decoration, we're going to go for navbar default. Okay, we're going to change this later on. And also we want our navigation bar to be fixed at the top. So if you scroll down, for instance, in this configuration, you will see that the navigation bar doesn't move. Okay, so to do this, we're going to add another class. It's going to be navbar fixed top. All right, now let's save and see what we've got. Okay, so now let's move to the navbar header and create our brand and the toggle button. So the brand is going to be placed inside a link. Okay, and we're going to give it a class navbar brand. And then the toggle button is going to be a button. Okay, we're going to give it a few attributes. So we're going to give it a type button. Also, we're going to give it a class of navbar toggle. Okay, so there are other attributes we're going to be adding later on, so we're going to come back to them later. So now to build these icon bars, we're going to use span elements. Okay, so each span is going to be of class icon bar, and I'm going to duplicate this twice. Okay, and let's save and see what we've got. Okay, and now we can see our brand there, and we can see our toggle button. And we're going to add another span for assistive technologies. Okay, so let's place some text in there, toggle navigation, and we're going to make it hidden. So we're going to give it a class SR only. Okay. All right, now let's move to the collapsible content. So we're gonna create a list of 3 items. Okay, and we're gonna place a link inside each list item. So let's go ahead and do this. So here is our list. Okay, so we're going to give it a couple of classes, nav and navbar nav. Okay, so each list item is going to include a link inside, and let's place an href attribute inside the link. Okay, and let's duplicate this and write some text. So it's going to be home, help, and then contacts us. Okay. All right, so let's make the first item active. So let's go to the first list item and give it a class active. Okay. Now let's create our login button. Okay. So just to make sure that the decoration of this button is the same as the items inside this list, what we're going to do, we're going to create a list and we're going to place this button inside the list as one list item. Okay. So let's just copy this list. Okay. And keep one item inside. I'm going to change this to login. Okay. Also, we're going to add a class inside the list to make sure the login button goes to the right. Okay. So for now, this is how it looks like. Okay. But we want this to go to the right. So I'm going to try the class pull right for now. Okay, which seems to be working. Okay, but I'm going to show you later that there is another class we can use which is better than pull right, and I'm going to show you why in a moment. Okay. All right, now let's build the functionality of our toggle button. Okay. So at the moment it's not working. Okay, so what we need to do is go to the button and add a couple of data attributes. So the first one is going to be the target or data target. Okay, so this will refer to the ID of the collapsible element. Okay, so let's call it, for example, navbar collapse. I'm going to need to give this ID to the collapsible content. Okay. And the second data attribute is going to be data toggle, which we will set to collapse. Okay. So let's save and refresh. And now you can see that our toggle button is working. Now you'll see that the login button is floating to the right when we show the collapsible content. And to fix this, we're going to go back to the class pull right, okay, and we're going to change that to navbar right. Okay, so let's save and refresh. And now you can see that the button is floating to the left like the other elements. Okay. And also in full screen, we can see that it's floating to the right. All right, now let's style our navigation bar. So first of all, let's just create a CSS file and call it styling.css. Okay. And let's open this file using brackets. Okay, so to style our navigation bar, we are going to use an online CSS generator for Twitter Bootstrap navigation bars. So let's type CSS online generator Twitter, Bootstrap, navigation bar, and let's go to this site. Okay, so we're going to change the color to this background color. So let's use the color picker. Okay, so let's copy, or let's paste the color in there, and let's generate our navbar. And now we can just copy the code to our clipboard. Right. So let's paste the code in the CSS file. So this is the code corresponding to the styling of the navigation bar. Okay, so we're gonna need to change the class navbar default to navbar custom. Okay, here we go. Okay, so before we try this, we're going to need to link the index.php file to our CSS file. So we're going to need to add another element inside the head element. So this is going to be a link element, and we're going to give it an href, which is styling.css, and a relationship attributes, which is going to be style sheets. So let's save and refresh the page, and we can see our styling now. Okay. Alright, now let's add this nice background image to our website. To get a royalty-free picture, you can use the website pixabay.com. Okay, and you can download a picture from there. So once you've done that, you can just take the picture, name it as you like, and then drag it to your file FTP. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to my CSS file. Okay, and I'm going to add the background image by styling the body element. Okay. So the property to use here is background. And I'm going to set that to URL, and then I'm going to use the name of the image, in my case p and image.png, and then we're going to add no repeats. Okay, and then we're going to center the image horizontally and vertically. Also, we would like the image to be fixed in the background so that it doesn't move when we scroll up or down. So to do this, we're going to use the property background attachment, and we're going to set it to fixed. Okay. And also, to make sure that the image covers the whole web page, we're going to use the background size that we're going to set to cover. Okay, so let's save and refresh. And now we can see our background image.